Good morning children. Are you fine? Okay, let's start the class. In class 7, you have learned about the motion, how an object moves. You can decide whether an object is moving slower or faster. What does distance travel for any time indicate? When an object moves, sometimes it gradually slows down, sometimes its speed changes, it increase or decrease, sometimes it changes its direction. Have you ever wondered what makes an object to slow down, to move faster, to changes its direction? Often we say that it is due to the force. Then what is this force? Now we discuss about this force. Let's discuss about force and pressure. When we push this ball, then ball starts to move. So it is a force. When we push means we apply the force on the ball. So ball it starts to move. Here the duster is at rest. When we pull the duster, its position changes. It means pulling is also a force. So a push or pull is known on an object is known as the force. Let's see some other examples. The cart is at rest. When the man pushes the cart, it starts to move. When a boy kicks the ball, it starts to move. It is also kick the ball means the boy gives the force to the ball. So the ball it changes its position, it moves. Some other examples are here in this picture. It shows the tug of war game playing between the two teams of the children. So here both the team they are pulling each other. So it is also a force. When you press the switch, press means you push the switch. So it is also a force. A man pulls the rickshaw. Here the batsman when hits the ball, he applies the force, and due to this, the motion of the ball is changes. Either its speed may increase or decrease, and sometimes its direction also changes. Some other examples. Here the two girls pulling each other. Here that is a cow and the boy both pulling each other. So these are the examples of force. So now we discuss. Now see this picture. Here that is a car is at rest. A man is standing behind the car. Here, due to the presence of this man, does not make the car to move. But when the man pushes the car, then the car moves. It means the force it comes to play when there is an interaction between two objects. So the forces are due to an interaction. So next we discuss the exploring force. Here that is a heavy box is there. If one boy or if push the box, it becomes very difficult to push it. Then the two friends or two boys they push the box. When the two boys push the box, then it becomes very easy to move the box. It means if two forces act on a body in the same direction, then a net force is the sum of the two forces. Here that is here these are F1, F2, two forces when it act on the same object. Then the net force is the sum of these two forces, F1 and F2. Suppose a heavy box placed on a table. So it is a heavy box placed on a table. Here that is the two applied forces or two external forces given on this box. So these forces named as F1 and F2. Then the box it moves in the forward direction. And so what is the resultant force? What is the net force acts on this box? So the net force is so we denote the net force F. So here F equal to the net force is the sum of two forces, sum of F1 and the F2. Here also we see these things, that is the net force equal to net force, it is the F1 and the sum of the two forces, F1 and the F2. So now in the second case, when the two boys they push the box in the opposite direction, then what happens? Then the box moves in that direction where the larger force is applied. So here just see here. So here that is a one force F1, one boy apply the force in this direction, then another boy in this direction. It is two forces are in the opposite direction. If the F1, if F2 is larger than the F1, so here the boy is possess the larger force than the another. So F2 is larger than F1. So the net force equal to the difference between these two forces. It is the F2 minus F1. Suppose the F1 is larger. Suppose it is the F1 is larger. Then the net force equal to the F1 minus F2. Suppose the two forces are both exert the equal forces on this box. Then what happens? Suppose here it is the F1 equal to the F2. Then here the net force F equal to difference between these two forces. So it is the 0. F1 minus F2 it is 0. So net force is 0. You cannot see a force, but you can see what it does. You can also feel the effect of force on your body. So let's see some examples. Here the trolley is at rest. When the boy pushes the trolley, it means he applies the force, then the trolley it moves, so a force can make an object move. A moving ball. When the player applies the force to hold that moving ball, he applies the force so that it stops the moving ball. So a force can make a moving object stop. Here that is the cricketer or the batsman hits the ball and the ball changes the direction and also it changes the speed. So a force can change the direction and speed of a moving object. Here see, it is a rubber band. So when we apply the force on it, it means we stretch it. Then its shape changes, its length increases. So it is the one effect of the force. Another example, it is a toothpaste. When we press the toothpaste, its shape also changes. So let's see. So here it is a lemon. When we squeeze the lemon into our finger, then to extract the juices, that is also an example of the effect of force. So let's summarize what are the effect of a force. So the force makes a stationary object moves, makes or it stops a moving object, it changes the direction of moving object, it changes the speed of a moving object, it changes the shape of an object permanently, it changes the shape of an object temporarily. So these are the effects of force. Let's discuss what are the different types of force. The force are of the two types. One is the contact force, another is the examples of contact force are muscular force and another is the force of friction or it is the frictional force. Then another type of force is the non-contact forces and the examples of non-contact forces are magnetic force, electrostatic force and the gravitational force. Now we want to lift the book. Can we lift the book without touching it? Can we push the book without touching it? No. When we touch it or when we push it, then it moves. So when we lift it, it means we apply the force. Then the position of the book changes. So that is when we touch the book, then the force is applied or force is exerted on this book. A force which can be exerted by an object on another object only through the physical touching is called the contact force. When we kick the ball, we kick means we touch it. So that is the contact force. So contact force, examples of contact force are the muscular force and another is the force of friction or it is the frictional force. When we push the ball, we apply the force, the ball moves. So where does this force come? This force comes from the muscles of our body. So the force exerted by the muscles of our body is called as the muscular force. We use the muscular force in doing our various activities. Here that is here pedaling of the bicycle, it is also due to the muscular force. Jumping, it is also due to the muscular force. Some animals also, the animals like bullock, horse, camels, donkeys, elephants also use muscular force to perform the various tasks. Let's do an activity. We throw the ball on the surface of the ground. The ball moves, then it gradually slows down and it stops. When we throw the ball, we apply the force on it, then it moves, then it slows down and stops. The ball stops. Why it stops? It appears that no other force acts on it, yet it stops. Suppose a ball is placed, here the ball is on the ground. When we kick it, it means we apply the external force. Then the ball, it moves, then this ball, it moves, here it moves, then gradually it stops here. The ball stops here. So we know that is a force can stop a moving object, but here it appears that no other forces exert on this ball. Then how the ball stops or why the ball stops? It means some other forces must act on the ball, and that force it must opposes the motion of the object. So that force is it opposes the motion of object. So this force is the force of friction. So it is the frictional force or it is the force of friction. It acts on the object which opposes the motion of the object. That's why the object, the moving object or moving ball, it stops. So let's see here. The force of friction is the force which opposes the motion of an object over the surface. One example we have seen, then another example. When we stop the pedaling a bicycle, it gradually slows down and comes to stop. It is due to the force of friction. We have seen that the force come into exist when the two objects are in contact with each other. But there are some forces which act on another object from a distance. Let's see. So, a magnet, it attracts the iron nails from a distance. So it means a magnet, it exerts some force on the iron nails. So if this force is the non-contact force. It without touching each other, the force exert on another object. Already you have learned these things, that is about the magnet in class 6. So let's explain what is non-contact force. A force which can be exerted by an object on another object even from a distance without touching each other is called non-contact force. The examples of non-contact force are magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. Here these are the bar magnet. Here it is the south pole of bar magnet, is it the north pole of the bar magnet. Here that is the, already you have learned in class 6, that is the unlike poles attract each other. So here a magnet, it exerts a force of attraction on another magnet. And the same poles, similar poles repel each other. It means it is a force of repulsion. So these are the magnetic force. A magnet exerts force. So here magnetic force is the force exerted by magnet. So here you will see, in the example here the north pole and the south pole attract each other. Here south, north pole attract each other. Here north, north repel each other. South, south repel each other. And we know that magnet, it also attracts the iron nails. It also attracts the materials made of iron, cobalt, nickel. So it is the magnetic force. Another type of non-contact force is the electrostatic force. Electrostatic force is the force exerted by a charged body on another charged or uncharged body. For example, here these are the plastic straw. That is with the help of thread, we tied one end of the plastic straw and it is hung from a stand. Then another plastic straw, we rub the another plastic straw with the papers. Then it attracts the, when we bring it to the this plastic straw, then it attracts this. It means that when we rub it with the paper, it gets charged. So the charged plastic straw, it attracts the uncharged plastic straw. Here that is the, here these two plastic straws, these two are the uncharged plastic straw. So that is the, here it is also repel each other. So a plastic straw charged by rubbing with paper repels a suspended plastic charged by rubbing with paper. So here that is the electrostatic force. So another example of electrostatic force. Let's see another example. We take one comb, plastic comb, then we rub this plastic comb with our dry hair, then it becomes electrically charged, so it attracts the tiny pieces of paper. Papers are uncharged. So it is another example of electrostatic force. When we throw the ball upward, it never goes upward, it goes downward. It means the earth, it exerts a force on the ball, so the ball it goes downward. It means earth pulls the ball. So here, so this force is the gravitational force. So gravitational force is the force exerted by the earth on all objects. It pulls all objects towards the earth. A coin or pen falls down when it slips off your hand. Leaves and fruits, it falls to the ground when they get detached from the plant. Water always flows in the downwards. It is also due to the earth's gravitational force. Start करें कौन करेंगे? କରିବୁ ତ ଏମିତିଆ